We spent a significant time in California, and we were staying in some very dear friends of ours' home, and one evening I was sitting in the living room, and Ainsley, our 1-year-old, she was sort of running free, okay, and no one else was really in the room. It was just me and her, and I think we were making dinner or something, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was watching her just run around, and a 1-year-old sort of leads with their head. You kind of imagine it, they don't quite have the full balance, and so when she would get going, there's that lean to her, and her feet are just trying to keep up, And then she puts on the brakes, and then slowly, you kind of see that experience, and so she's sort of darting in and out, and she locks eyes with me. She comes running up to me and throws her arms open and just gives me my legs this huge hug. And I pick her up, I pull her to my chest, and she's just hugging on me. I mean, just like gripping me. And this is, she's given me hugs before, but now this is just different. It was an authentic affection, being shown by my 1-year-old. And she's hugging into me, and I'm thinking, oh, this is so wonderful. And she just keeps nuzzling in and hugging, like gripping me, like she's not letting go of this moment. And so I just hug her more, and I pull her in, and we're in this moment for a while. And then I feel like the moment's over, and so I begin to release, and she looks up at me, big smile, pushes off, and she goes running off again. And I noticed that as she's going a little bit farther now than where she was. She was just in the room before, but now she's like looking back as she's running, and she gets to the edge of the room, and she looks back and giggles, and then she runs a little farther. And she's doing this, and then all of a sudden she looks at me, locks eyes with me, and comes running back to me like this. And I sweep her back up and bear hug again. Only this time it's a little bit less of the amount of time. And then I feel the release, and she pushes back, she hits the ground, looks up at me, big smile, and off again she goes. She's darting around the room. She does this over and over. And each time she's getting a little bit farther away. And each time she's exploring deeper into this house that we, don't know, because it's not familiar to us. But she's going farther out and exploring deeper things, and she's okay with it. There is a security that I'm beginning to see in her as Daddy is sweeping her up, and as she's feeling the connectedness of her father, there's this confidence that's building on the inside of her to do things that she wasn't able to do before. And she keeps coming back, and I'm thinking, is this is heaven? Like, oh my gosh, as a dad, it's like the most wonderful thing in the world. And in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder, like, what is this? And something clicks on the inside. Oh, Lord, you're speaking. And so I just quickly tune in. I say, oh, Lord, speak. Your child's listening. And this is what he said. Your affection towards me in worship causes your own heart to become secure. And it causes your own faith to become adventurous. It's the joy of a father to see their child run around and live life. You can come back as many times as you want to connect and experience my presence and affection. But the goal of life is to live it. And the joy of a father is to see their child live that life. When we come together and we worship, we come into his presence, so much happens. There are so many levels of connectedness, and the Lord speaking into lives, and he's speaking into your heart situation. He's ministering to you. But there's something that happens in our hearts where we lock eyes with him and all of a sudden we see more clearly who he made us to be. We worship him and we come into the light of his countenance, and all of a sudden we find ourselves being transformed. Something builds on the inside of us, and there is this faith moment that catalyzes in our hearts, and we get changed. And you need to know that your Father in heaven will always welcome you with open arms. The mercy that was created in the cross is permanent. That there is no sin that would keep you separated from your Heavenly Father. There's no shame that would pull you away from his affection. There's nothing that you can do that would jeopardize, that would keep your Father from standing at the top of the hill looking to see when you would turn your face back towards him, and the first thing he's doing is running at you, screaming, "That's my boy, that's my child." Some in this room tonight, you felt distance from the Lord, but you need to know that distance is only in your head. It's not real. And if you would just remember who you are, if you would turn and you would come and draw near to him again, everything that you felt had been taken from you or lost, you'd find restored in a moment, because that's who your Father is.